Hello, friends. Welcome back to Arc Habitu, especially for young, innovative minds. This is a video after a long time for NATA and JEE means B Arc preparation series. This is a requested video because I have already uploaded part 1 of architecture terminology where I have just discussed from alphabet A to D. So in this video I am going to discuss from E to H. But yes, I will continue with this series, and before your NATA test 2 I will complete the whole thing. And yes, parallelly I will go on with some physics, chemistry and maths videos, and yeah, some general aptitude videos which I have already started uploading stones, general awareness based on stones topic. So you can watch those small videos while you are eating something or traveling. So that is basically audio, or just to hear audio. Now let's go on with first alphabet E. Now we have 5 words which may or may not be familiar. I think these words are not much familiar to you because I have just excluded the words which is repeatedly um, uh, which you are repeatedly hearing through different videos, different textbooks, different sources. So I have included those words. You are gonna miss it if it in case comes in your examination. So let's move on with E. So the first word we have is eaves. So what is meant by eaves? So eaves is nothing but the under part of a roof's overhanging element, and the eaves extend beyond the side of the building. They throw water away from walls of the building and provide a protected corridor around the structure and also form a decorative edge to the roof. So the function of an eave is traditionally to throw the water away from the walls of the building and to protect the corridor. But in some buildings, eaves are used as a decorative element. For example, in Chinese buildings, the rooftops have eaves, which is mainly used as a decorative element, but the basic cause for eaves is just to throw the water away from the walls of the building and to provide a protected corridor. So that's done. We are done with first word eaves. Now the next word is eclectic. So this is an eclectic building. This is a word which can be used when we are moving with our gang through a historical site, and you are just seeing one beautiful building and you are spotting that this building have used many theories, many styles of architecture, and many concepts in architecture. Then you can say, wow, look at that building, it's an eclectic one. Now the friends will be like, oh, eclectic. So eclectic is a word which can be used when the building uses many theories, styles, or concepts to generate an idea. So, eclecticism in architecture sees the use of different historic styles in a single building. Okay, so this is a style prevailing in 19th century. Okay, so this is an example of eclectic building. The next word is edifice. So, what do you mean by edifice? Edifice is a permanent building or structure with an imposing appearance or size. An edifice is similar in meaning to the term building but suggests something grander and much more impressive. So you can say that all or most of the skyscrapers are edifices, and this is an example for edifice. So maybe this is not only the example of edifice, it is a building, a permanent building or structure which have an imposing appearance and is something much grander and much more impressive. For example, Taipei 101 Tower in Taiwan is an edifice. So let's move on with the next word, which is a very familiar word for you guys who are writing NATA and JEE means BARC exams, because elevation based question is a must in the aptitude part. Sometimes it will be like which will be the possible elevation for the 3D figure in the question, or vice versa, like which will be the corresponding 3D figure which for the question elevation. Okay, so there will be many questions like that. So what is an elevation? It's nothing but exterior wall of a building, and an elevation drawing is a representation of this wall or facade. So this is an example of elevation drawing. So this depicts an elevation of some building, some sort of housing, I think. So that is elevation. And then we have entasis. What is entasis? Entasis is an outward or convex curve in the shaft of a column to counteract the optical illusion that gives the parallel sides an inward or concave structure. So inclusion of an entasis makes the sides of the columns appear straight. So this is a method, one of the method to counteract optical illusion by Greeks. So you can see that many Greek temples like Parthenon have magnificent columns that um, it is very magnificent, right? So in order to counteract with the optical illusion created by the size of that column, they are using many methods. One of the method is to incorporate entasis onto the shaft of the column. So that is entasis. Entasis is basically an outward or convex curve in the shaft of a column to counteract the optical illusion that gives parallel sides an inward or concave curvature, and also the columns appears like straight. So that's with alphabet E. Now let's move on to F. The first one is a familiar word, facade. So what is facade? It's the exterior front plane of a building. It sets visual tone and contains many of identifiable architecture features that are typically used to classify architecture. So this term comes from a French word which means frontage or face. Okay? So that's facade. Now I have incorporated the image of a facade which looks crazy to me, which I like. Okay, projecting shapes and all. Now the next word is fascia. Now what is fascia? It's a plane horizontal band that traditionally forms part of a classical entablature. So I have not included the word entablature in the topic E. So if you guys know what is entablature, just comment in the comment section. Let me check. So fascia comes from Latin term known as band or door frame. Nowadays, a fascia covers and protects the rafter and beam ends, and as such can form part of a facade. So it's a plain horizontal band that traditionally forms a part of entablature. So if you know the word entablature, do comment. Now the next word is finial, which is also a familiar one because it can be seen in most of the religious temples, religious monuments, everywhere. So what is finial? It's a leaf line decoration that highlights the apex of a gable. It can also be found at the top or corner of a building, bench or canopy. Okay, so that's the thing, a decoration that highlights the apex of a gable. Now the next one is floor plans. Another easy one. It's a scale diagram that shows the relationship between the rooms, spaces, and physical features of a given level of structure. So, floor plans are horizontal cut through a building and conventionally provide a view at 1 meter above the level of the floor. And in this, perspective is not included, it's like a 2D form drawing. So, this is an example of floor plan. I think more definition is not required for the floor plan. Now we have frame. So frame is also a familiar thing to us, because we have two types of structures in architecture mainly. They are load bearing and framed. Load bearing structure is built up from the ground brick by brick, while frame is a skeletal arrangement of struts, ties, and beams. So that's the thing. Frame, which is usually constructed from steel or reinforced concrete, it gives a great deal of freedom in design of a space. So, what is a frame? Frame is a structure, or it's a skeletal arrangement of struts, ties, and beams. Okay. Now we have functionalism. Now this has got many questions for you guys. Form follows function. This is a famous quoting by a famous architect. So I'm not telling who the architect is. If you know the answer, form follows function. Who says these words? So if you know the answer, do comment. Let me check who knows the answer. And this is a design principle associated with 20th century modern architecture that says the shape of a building should be predicted upon its intended purpose. So, form is this form. Every form we make in architecture should have a function of its own. So, that's the thing, functionalism. So, you can post the answers. Form follows function. Whose words are these? That is, the main idea of this functionalism is the building must be fit for the purpose of what the building is. Okay, so the building must be fit for the purpose. Now let's check what are the words for you guys in G. So, G, we have gable. Gable is a triangular upper section of an exterior wall around or between the inclined lines of a sloping roof. The shape of a gable is determined by the structure of the building, and it's an aesthetic styling. Okay, this triangular form of a roof or wall, exterior wall, is known as gable. Now we have gargoyle. I think I have discussed this gargoyle in many previous videos. So, gargoyle is a carved stone or wooden fantastical anthropomorphic form. So, actually, there are many myths for the people. Gargoyles are monsters. They are watching all the city, all the town, all the time from a magnificent building like churches. But actually, the purpose of gargoyle, why architects of that time designed gargoyle in many churches, was to perform a drainage duty. A gargoyle is attached to rainwater drainage system of a building, usually at roof level, and throws water away from the walls. Gargoyles come from French word gargoyle, meaning throat or gullet. Gargoyles were popular in medieval Europe, where they used on churches, as their grotesque forms were believed to scare off evil spirits. But there are no much facts. This is not a fact. The thing is, they are used for drainage. Gargoyles. So this is one kind of gargoyle. Now we have geodesic. So what is geodesic? It's almost spherical like structure constructed from network of struts that are arranged to form surface of a sphere. And the structure is made from geometrical elements that have local triangular rigidity and distribute stress across an entire structure or space frame. Okay, who developed geodesic dome? Do you know that? If you are chemistry lovers as well as architecture lovers, you will know the answer. So do comment. Who developed geodesic dome or geodesic, that shape? Now the next word is girder. So what is a girder? It's a large steel or iron beam used in construction. So they are in different forms like I, box or Z shape. And it is the main horizontal support of a construction and it supports smaller beams. This is girder. So it's for support and they are of I, box or Z shape. And it is the main horizontal support. The next one is a familiar word, golden section. Uh, the approximate 8 is to 13 ratio that was thought by ancient to represent infallibly beautiful proportion. It says that any beautiful thing in the world follows golden section or golden ratio 8 is to 13. So that's the thing. Golden section is used in architecture due to harmonious proportion it provides, which result in a balanced design. Now the next word is Gothic. So Gothic is an architecture style which um, is which existed from medieval Europe and that favored use of stone to create monumental buildings. Now in Gothic they have incorporated many beautiful and aesthetic elements like pointed arches, flying buttresses, etc. So, in this figure, you can see one important church, but another famous church of Gothic architecture was destroyed in a fire. Can you name that church? So, you can comment that church name in the comment section. So, the important features of Gothic architecture are pointed arches, ribbed walls, clear story windows, and flying buttresses. Flying buttresses is a structural element used for the support of magnificent structures. So, that is about alphabet G. Then we have H. So, in this H, I have only incorporated two words, which is ha ha. Now, what is haha? It's a garden boundary that was designed to be unseen and therefore provide an uninterrupted view, creating impression that garden continues without any disturbance into countryside. So that's simply haha. It's a garden which continues and which is uninterrupted by any structural element. Now the next word is a familiar word, hierarchy. Hierarchy is an organizing system where each element is ranked as subordinate or superior to another element. And it works in two main ways. The first is hierarchy present within physical building, and the second is hierarchy which can work in visual statement of a building. Okay, so this is an example for hierarchy. So that's it for the session. We had discussed four alphabets from E to H. So in next video I will discuss the next four alphabet and will complete the series by the next exam. Thank you for watching. Do subscribe, share and comment.